So album number 5, guys.
Yeah, let's
5
do
guys.
it.
See what I did
5
there?
guys. So we are covering the Smiths again. With their album "Strangeways, Here We Come," which comes in at number 36 in the 1980s on Best Ever Albums, number 4 in 1987, number 275 of all time. It is the Smiths' 5th highest rated album on Best Ever Albums. So we got all the other 3 albums that we had covered, the studio albums plus Hatful of Hollow, which isn't
even a proper album. That's a compilation album.
Yeah. So it's interesting with 5 records that they have in this list. This is number 36 of the best of the 80s. So they have 5 albums in the top 36 on Best Ever Albums. So they are thought of quite highly. Did not make Rolling Stone's list, and the Smiths are ranked number 12 of overall artist rankings in Best Ever Albums. So, Josh, I think you are up.
Remind me what was this ranked on their albums in Best Ever Albums
for the Smiths?
Yeah,
it was their 5th ranked album.
Oh. Okay.
So all 3 albums. So we covered Queen is Dead is 1, the Smiths self-titled album is 2, Meat is Murder is 3, Hatful of Hollow 4, Strangeways 5.
Interesting. Okay, well, it is my probably number 2 Smiths album, maybe number 1, maybe it beats Queen is Dead because I really liked it. It cracked my top 10 in my rankings of cold listens, and it was just a pleasure to listen to. Kind of like The Wedding Present, but I think better because you have Morrissey's voice, which kind of like I think he's kind of pushing it a bit and trying some different things. He's got some like kind of growls and different vocal tricks that he incorporates in something like on I Started Something I Couldn't Finish. You have a lot of stuff that was reminiscent of the Beatles in a good way, like Death of a Disco Dancer kind of reminded me of that. You still have the humorous lyrics like Girlfriend in a Coma, which is like hilariously just like so Morrissey and now,
glib, would you say? Yes.
and then they are pushing the kind of envelope in terms of kind of incorporating other instruments too. There's piano and strings and horns throughout on some of these tracks. Strings on Girlfriend in a Coma and piano on Last Night I Dreamed Someone Loved Me, and the guitar is still on point. The rhythm section is still on point, and it really is just kind of a nice capstone to their short career in a way. And I don't know if this was, John, you mentioned, was this album kind of released as like a last
they were in turmoil
effort?
Yeah, they were in turmoil during this one. Yeah, basically heading towards the dissolution of the band. Yeah.
I feel like in some ways Queen is Dead is a bit more cohesive sonically in some ways, but I really kind of liked all of the variety on this, and it just kind of flew by and really was, if anything, like a nice reminder of how good they are. And even though we just listened to them and it's not like that far removed, but I guess it's just makes a point of what I appreciated about them. And so big thumbs up for me. It's just kind of got everything. It's almost like a Cliff Notes version of a Smiths album, or a best of. I'm sure there is a best of, but I don't know. It just kind of everything here is what I like about the Smiths, and kind of to the best of their ability. So thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I as much as I think The Queen is Dead is probably their best album objectively, sentimentally, this is my favorite Smiths album, because some of my all-time favorite songs of the Smiths are on this album. I think there's no funnier version of Morrissey than this one, in that like Paint a Vulgar Picture is basically just about how much they despise the record industry. And I don't know what it is. It's also a surprisingly long song for the Smiths. It's like a narrative, but it just always makes me laugh, and it gets stuck in my head every time I listen to it, because just the lilting nature of the lyrics and how they run together a little bit as a story, it just makes me want to sing along. My good buddy CTS superfan Jeff every single year I sent him "Unhappy Birthday" on his birthday, because just the whole first, I've come to wish you an unhappy birthday, because you're evil and you lie, and if you should die, I may be slightly sad, but I won't cry. Like, just, I don't know, just that cracks me up on so many levels, that whole thing. And "Girlfriend in a Coma" is hilarious. There's funny lyrics in "I Started Something I Couldn't Finish," but there's also, a beautiful love song. And "Last Night I Dreamt That Somebody Loves Me" is a great, beautiful song. "Death of a Disco Dancer" plays it very straight. "I Won't Share You" as well is another love song. But the album opener, "A Rush and a Push and the Land Is Gone," is great. It's crazy with as much as turmoil as there was with the rhythm section. The rhythm section sounds great in this, but I would say this is probably the most Morrissey Johnny Marr album of all of the Smiths albums, in the sense that, like, this is Morrissey sort of a monster on this album. His presence is fully established here, and Johnny Marr is still just, churning out great guitar lines throughout this entire album. "Stop Me If You Think You've Heard This One Before" is almost a perfect syncretic blend of what the Smiths do. So this album, in my opinion, breezes by. It's sad that this is where they end, because you could tell that they were experimenting a little bit, and it just would have been really interesting to see what the next Smiths album sounded like, because I think they were all ready to do something slightly different. So it would have been either a disaster, but an interesting one, or it would have been evolutionarily great. And so, there's a little bit of melancholy with it, in the sense that what could have been. But, it just, all of the hallmarks you want in a Smiths album are here. The lyricism is biting, poignant, hilarious. The guitar lines are great. The rhythm section perfectly fits. The mix of short, punchy songs and ballads, and ballads maybe they're wrong, like more melancholy songs, and the weaving in and out of emotions. It all works for me. So very strong thumbs up for me as well, Josh.
I'm right with you guys. The thing that I think you both said this, that I agree with the most, is this flies by. This was a real easy, listen. I knew some of the songs on here from the singles, but I didn't know. I probably knew about half of them, and it flowed really nicely. It just sounded great. The variety that was there was, it just flew by. I don't think I would stop. I wouldn't say that this is better than "The Queen Is Dead" for me, but it's definitely. I think it should be ranked higher than 5.
Right.
This to me was definitely better, than the self-titled and "Meat Is Murder." I felt that those albums, although I liked, and they had some great stuff on it. There were elements of those albums that kind of pegged it down a notch or two, just with some songs that were a little bit kind of clunky, or just not really fully formed, or or finding their place in the areas that I like the Smiths the most. But this is, I think that the variety here is great. I think the song that stood out the most to me that I wasn't as familiar with was "Paint a Vulgar Picture." That's a really cool little progression that they're doing. It's a little syncopation that's just kind of a little offbeat that's happening there, and I really like that. And I like the fact that it's 5 minutes long, that they just keep doing that chorus. I don't know if it's quite the chorus or not. It's kind of just the song just happens. I don't know if it's traditional structure, but that's a great song musically. I like a lot of what Johnny Marr's doing here with "Stop Me If You Think I've Heard This One Before." Just that guitar part, it sounds so great. Like, whatever he's doing, I don't know if it's I don't even think it's a special guitar. Just whatever feature he's using through the.
It's just his guitar tone is so good.
Yep. But it's just but it's being fed through some sort of monitor, or I forget the word I'm looking for, but they have all the different options of how the guitar can sound, and it sounds great. Like, what his choice there was great. But yes, and then Morrissey's lyrics, "Unhappy Birthday" is an hysterical song. It's just he's so, he's even for somebody that doesn't pay a ton of attention to lyrics, you Morrissey in some cases forces you to listen to
He
"Girlfriend in
rises
a
above.
Coma." Yeah. Yeah, but it's just like weird, who writes about a happy sounding song like that? A girlfriend in a coma.
Yeah.
It's like, do you think she's gonna pull through? Like, it's the juxtaposition of all of that is, it certainly warrants all the praise that they get as a band. I love the ending, the last track, I Won't Share You, this like ukulele kind of acoustic
Yeah, it's
track.
like acoustic or something.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It sounds like it's either like a ukulele or a mandolin or something like that. It's beautiful though. It's just a really it's a really pretty song. So auto harp, that's what it is. I'm looking at it here.
Okay.
Yes, it looks auto harp.
What is an auto harp?
Well, it's like I remember in music class the guy had that. It's kind of like I don't know. There's strings. There's a hole.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. So
that hole.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that I think you're right, John. It is kind of sad that they end on this because like what else could they have done? Because they clearly were coming into form, with their style, with what was working out well. The bass didn't stand out as much to me on this as it did in the previous record, but I still think that everything, kind of came together very well.
Well, he was in the throes of a heroin addiction, so that there is
that's
that
right.
going on. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, great band, and it's thumbs up. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just it's a very easy listen, very easy to get into. Yeah.
And I don't say this lightly, but could I share like possibly my favorite stretch of lyrics in any Morrissey song from Stop Me If You Think You've Heard This One Before, when he gives this set of gems where it was, I was delayed, I was waylaid, an emergency stop, I smelt the last 10 seconds of life, I crashed down on the crossbar, and the pain was enough to make a shy, bald Buddhist reflect and plan a mass murder. I mean, that's fantastic shit right there. Like, that's just awesome. Like, talk about vivid imagery and just like building to it, and just his pacing of how he sings it too, it's just, he's slowly building up to it, right? So, and then it ends with, who said I lied to her. It's so good. So
yeah, he's also like telling the story within the song, like he's
right.
telling
it.
Yeah, it's just
and just
clever.
at the end, he does all those words, and then it's like, who said I lied to her? And so he slows it down again, right, and then drives back to the point of what he does that on Happy Birthday too, where it's like he's giving you that chorus, and then he just keeps saying outlandish things like, no, I'm gonna kill my dog and stuff like that. That just always just cracks me up. So, yeah, good stuff. So,
and are we doing Hatful of Hollow?
No,
we're not covering
we are not, but I'll tell you, the one you should listen to is Louder Than Bombs, because Hatful of Hollow, like a lot of the first album is on that, so there's a lot of rerun, but Louder Than Bombs has like all kinds of great like some of my favorite Smith songs like are on that, like Girl Afraid is on, well, that's actually on Hatful of Hollow as well, but like there's just so many great tracks. I think like Sheila Take a Bow is on that, and
Shoplifters of the World Unite.
Shoplifters of the World Unite. Yep. Panic, right? Panic on the streets. Yeah, that one's on there.
Okay, yeah, they do. I was going to say they should have
Sweet and Tender Hooligan might be on that one. Another track I really love. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say they should have like a box set with like all their albums, and then just like, because the compilations
you just haven't earned
together,
it yet, baby. That's
like,
on there.
I don't want repeats. Just get everything on like one collection.
Well, they basically become the band in Paint a Vulgar Picture early by consistently repackaging their stuff. So I do always laugh at that, because they kind of actually become that band that they were like knocking the record label for.
Well, they've got
there is an irony.
They've got five of the 10 albums listed on Best Ever Albums are compilations.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
that's what I'm saying. They kind of became the joke they were making fun of, right?
Yeah.
Like, repackage, reissue, put a button or whatever, a sticker. It kind of did become a little bit of what that became. So
yeah.
It also kind of invites those like diehard fans to like, understand what was released when, and like kind of the minutia of the band and stuff. But
I mean, can we agree that it's utterly ridiculous they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh,
like
God.
it's kind of like,
Absolutely.
come on, it's like, you know, just the idea of how indignant they would be at turning it down is worth inducting them just for that. So yeah, because there is 0% chance that any of them show up for that. So yeah. Like any of them, you know what I mean? There'd be 0 for 4, like in terms of getting them. So
I think it'd be
Maybe
funny if just one of them showed up and it was like
I
you
just
know, the
I just would
drummer.
love if they were inducted and none of them showed up, and then they did a tribute to it, and then they all just shit all over like how
Yeah.
indignant they were at that, which would be worth it just for that. So
It's probably why they're not in
Yeah.
there, because they know,
Yeah.
the voters know that it would just go badly.
well, they've commented on it, and you know it went exactly what you would imagine it would be, right? Yeah. So, so yeah,
Right
well,
on.
thumbs up there.